be connected. So today, let me share my slide. So in continuation to yesterday's session, today we will have a session on MQTT and its implementation and how it can be simulated over our local system. So, and what MQTT is? MQTT is basically a lightweight protocol that is generally used to enable machine-to-machine communication. So if we have a stack of this IoT ecosystem, at the bottom level layer we have a hardware. It could probably a ARM-based system, Arduino, Raspberry Pi. It can depend on your situation, that what kind of computing power your node has. So at the hardware level, you have a variety of options. So at the top of this hardware layer, some operating system should be there, like Linux, Android, Windows CE operating system, TinyOS. So on the top of again that of this operating system, you have a software layer like HomeKit, AllSeen, IoTVT, ThingsWorks. So all these are some kind of software, or you can say a layer of some API libraries. So again, the data link layer, we have a variety of options, depend on the your application, what kind of coverage area you need. For example, if you need a small coverage at the small level, probably you will go with the Bluetooth Smart or Bluetooth communication. a little bit wide level, you will prefer to use Wi-Fi, and for the long distance transmission, you will prefer to use LoRa communication. LoRa is a wideband radio transmission. So at the routing layer, again, 6LoWPAN is a widely used routing protocol. RPL is another protocol that is generally used in this IoT implementation. For this session implementation, there are again some protocols like MQTT, Core, DDS are there, and at the application layer, we again have some kind of application like smart home, smart health, smart grid like applications. So basically enabling communication between the machine to machine, we have lightweight protocol, term as message queuing, telecommunication protocol. So it's a lightweight, as I already told you, lightweight messaging protocol for machine to machine communication. This telemetry means telemetering or remote measurement. So it was this MQTT protocol was developed by IBM, and it was a sponsored project, and now it's a part of open source community. So it's an open source library. So MQTT is this term MQ is originated from message queuing. This message queuing was the basically architecture of IBM system. So for service-based architecture, IBM generally used this term MQ message. Basically, there is no such kind of message queuing kind of things in MQTT. Just because of this, MQTT is derived from this message queuing architecture. That's why it's termed as MQTT. But there is no queue is there. Telemetric data from a device to a server. See, basically, this MQTT protocol is based on publisher or subscriber kind of mechanism. So publisher just publish anything, and the any client that is subscribed to any particular topic, it grab the message from the broker or the server that lie in between these two clients. Right. So there are three entities. The first one is publisher that originate the message or publish the message on some particular topic. Broker or a server that implement this MQTT kind of some communication, or that act as an intermediate in between these two kinds, publisher and subscriber. So as and when the publisher publish some message at the server just store this message for a time being, and as and when someone subscribe to a particular topic on which the publisher published a message, the broker send this message to the subscriber. So in that manner, MQTT protocol works. So it's a lightweight protocol. Lightweight means in the term of bandwidth, in the term of power, we utilize less bandwidth as well as less power, and the footprint of this writing the code or API for implementing MQTT protocol is quite small compared to the HTTP that is traditionally used for enabling communication in between IoT devices and sensor nodes. This MQTT protocol is generally used for Facebook Messenger, because the Facebook is quite intended to minimize the battery consumption. If you could seen the Facebook app in the previous years, this Facebook app utilized a lot of battery power. So now they have just launched the light version of this Facebook Messenger, which utilize a very less power. So in that, they are implementing MQTT protocol. There are some other applications also, for example, in the smart house, smart medication system, hospital system, environmental monitoring system. There are again using MQTT. Many open source implementation of clients and brokers are available. For example, you can implement a small message broker in C or Java. Mosquitto is it's a kind of a software, or you can say utility, by which you can simulate your MQTT communication. Even today in practical session, we will also have a practical demonstration on this Mosquitto utility. Micro broker, it's a Java-based platform which provides broker services or server services for implementing MQTT. It's a traditional architecture or schematic of MQTT. So see, there are various publishers are there, various notes are there that are published on some particular topic. For example, the temperature sensor is publishing on a topic temperature. Okay, so in the middle layer we have a broker, whereas in the left hand side we have some kind of publishers, or in the right hand side we have some subscribers are there. So the publishers are publishing their values on particular topic. For example, temperature sensor publishing on temperature, humidity sensor is publishing the value on humidity, as well as the light sensor is publishing their value on the topic light. So the apartment dweller has been subscribed for this light as well as humidity and the temperature. So as and when the publisher publish any value, any publisher publish any value, this subscriber automatically get the value corresponding this message broker get from the. So this building manager has been subscribed only for two topic like temperature and light. So it will get only corresponding these two value correspond to these two topics. Right. So MQTT concept, the quality, as far as the quality of service is concerned, in the case of HTTP, we have only one quality of service. Right? If we see the protocol format of HTTP protocol, we have only one kind of quality service. Whereas in the case of this MQTT protocol, we have three levels: 0, 1, 2, or at the most ones, or at the least ones, and exactly ones. So in the case of at most ones, the best efforts and no acknowledgement policy is implemented. And in the case of at least one, acknowledge as well as the retransmission acknowledges not received, this kind of policy is implemented. And in the exact one, only on the request of publisher, the communication is established, and as well as the acknowledge is also sent, but again on the demand. So there are the three kind of quality of service or levels implemented at the MQTT side. So one more thing that MQTT serves, that after getting a message from any publisher, it keeps the message at its local storage. So as and when a new subscriber just connect to the particular server or message broker, it retain the message whatever it have from the broker side on a particular topic on which it has subscribed in the previous stage. So it's a typical example of MQTT broker. There are various sensor, multiple sensors are there that are going to publish their data on MQTT broker. For example, we have a publisher like at the bottom part, 4 publishers are there. The first publisher is publishing their location, second is the second sensor or publisher publishing their speed, third is publishing weight, fourth one is publishing the content. So using a bridge, we have connected both two brokers, and there are multiple subscribers are there that are subscribing on particular some topic. For example, this subscriber is subscribed for location, so it will have only the data that is related to this location topic. So, and similarly, these three have only the data or readings correspond to their particular topic they have subscribed, like speed, RFID, or location. Okay. So there are some applications that are using MQTT protocol, like in the pacemaker, home pacemaker monitoring system. The pacemaker is mounted at the nearby part of the human heart, and it collects the data from their heart, and after collecting the data from their heart or pulse rate, it transfers the data to a local gateway, and this gateway and the sensors communication generally done by this MQTT protocol, right? So again, there is a computer that resides at the hospital side that is subscribing subscribing the topic for this reading, whatever this pacemaker collect from the heart, the human heart. So as and when the data get collected at the gateway side, it automatically send or catch by this computer that subscribe at the topic at this gateway. So the doctor get alert if any catastrophic condition get raised at the runtime, or you can say at any emergency situation, the doctor get alert for that. So it's a typical diagram of this system is demonstrated here. Some instrument is there, some home monitoring appliances or gateways there. So they are interconnected with the computer reside at the hospital side, and that all the communication is taken place with the help of this MQTT protocol. There are some more application area where MQTT protocol generally used in Alexa or home automation system. In the Broadway, I will say home automation system, healthcare system, mobile application, like in the case of particular this Facebook messaging services, we are using MQTT protocol. For industrial automation, automotive platform, for IoT, general IoT applications, they are using this. So these are some kind of brokers, utility softwares or brokerage servers that provide MQTT brokering services. Some of these are listed here. Some of them are open source, and some of these require license. So we can go with that. So if you are interested to simulate this MQTT protocol over your system, so there is a utility, open source utilities provided like Mosquitto. So with the help of this Mosquitto utility, you can visualize the MQTT community.
Excuse me, Mr. Amit sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm audible now. Okay, I think
yes.
So.
Okay, so just let me finish this topic so that there will not be any chaos with that. Okay. So just there are two kind of utilities like Mosquitto. Mosquitto underscore sub. This command or utility provides subscribing kind of services, and the Mosquitto underscore pub. This command provides publishing kind of service. So Mosquitto underscore sub -h. We will define the brokerage system like. In the case of, in this case, the broker is reside on our system itself. So that's why -h we name the brokerage system like localhost. -t is defined as topic. Okay, so we could say our system has subscribed for the topic test with the corresponding broker that's again reside on our localhost. So as and when the publisher publish any message on this localhost for the particular topic test, for example, hello or goodbye, we automatically, the subscriber get the message from the brokerage side. So in that way, this MQTT communication taking place. So if we compare MQTT and HTTP, there are some slight differences are there. At the design level, MQTT is data centric, whereas this HTTP is document centric. Similarly, if we compare the pattern, HTTP is basically depend on request and response kind of things, whereas the MQTT protocol is just a publisher subscriber kind of implementation. MQTT, but obviously it's a lightweight protocol, less complex, quite simple, just a kind of messaging services, whereas HTTP is more complex protocol, right? So MQTT is generally derived for sending or making communication in the small chunks of data. So the message size is quite small with the header of 2 bytes. Okay. Whereas in the case of HTTP, we have a large packet size. The communication is encoded with the ASCII standards. Service level, we have 3 service levels, whereas in the case of HTTP, we have only 1 service level. At the MQTT level, we have a large variety of libraries implemented in C, C++, Java, .NET, Python, etc. So it's a kind of open source software, and it could be integrated with the Arduino, Ampere, Nano, Raspberry Pi, many kind of platform it can be integrated with. So in the later part, I think Professor Ravi is available with us. So in the later part, I will provide you the simulation of this message being protocol. So just let me check. Professor Ravi is there. Professor Ravi, could you start your session? Professor Ravi, are you there? I think he is not there. Okay, so just let me start. Let me continue my session. Just hold on. So, in order to implement MQTT protocol, you have to just go into Google and type mosquito. Right. So over there you have a website mosquito.org, because Mosquito is an open source broker that provide implementation of MQTT protocol. So we are going to download this software. So for the Windows operating system, you can download Mosquito for Windows. If you have a Mac or Linux distribution, you can prefer to use these two commands. Right. So I have already downloaded it and installed it. So once it get download, it get automatically installed your program files folder. Here you will find Mosquito folder there. So there are two kind of utilities are there, like mosquito_sub and mosquito_pub. These two utilities are there that generally used to implement Mosquito or MQTT communication. So just press Control and Shift and right click. You will have an option open command window here. So just open two command prompt there. So in the left hand side, we are subscribing a topic. Right? Okay. You are seeing this. Let's put off your mic. Okay. So you are having such kind of error. No connection could be made because the target machine actively refused the connection. This error is popping up due to your message broker is not active. Okay. So just right click on your My Computer and go into Manage. And at the service end, just check your Mosquito broker is working or not. Yes. So I think this Mosquito is currently stopped now. That's why it's actively refusing connection. So just start the service of this Mosquito broker. Now, again issue this command. Now things are working. So at the publishing end, publish a message. Okay. So as and when you publish any message, it automatically get to the client side, because it has this client has been subscribed for basically the topic, and we are publishing message on topic. Okay. So, but what if we are publishing a message on some other topic like topic/3? So in the particular this case, I'm again opening another command window there. Sub localhost -e topic/3. if I publish this message will go to only the subscriber that subscribe for this topic selection. It will not go for go to the client that has been subscribed to the topic that is parent to this A, that is the nested part of this topic. Okay, so in that manner, MQTT implement its this protocol. So if we want to have the all communication that is nested, you need to write mosquito underscore sub minus h localhost minus t. And in particular this case, if you want the all the nested subscribe for all the nested subtopics, you need to use wildcard characters. Okay. So now if I publish any message, this A, it will get into this window as well as on this. Okay, the spelling mistake is there. Subscribe for topics instead of topic. Okay, so because of this wildcard character, this window has been subscribed for all the topics that is nested in this topic. Okay, so in this manner, you could simulate this MQTT protocol at your local system. If you want to implement, if you don't want to implement this message broker, MQTT broker at your system, you could use the third party or some third party kind of software to implement an MQTT broker. There is one site, DOI, I think. Just a minute. DIOTY, I think this site. Yes. DIOTY. So DIOTY is again an open source platform that provides MQTT brokerage service. So just go with that. Click on sign in button and sign up with your Google account. So at the dashboard, you will have the connection parameter like broker host port number. So in that manner, you can post all over your data over or subscribe all over your messages that has been posted over this external third-party server. So for just sake of simplicity, I am publishing some data to this brokerage servers. So in the host, I am providing this information -t, specifying the port number, okay, -t, providing the topic, -u, that is username, and -P for password. Password they have securely mailed me. Let me check where the password. Yes. Here it is. Okay, I forgot to write message. Let me clear screen first. So just click on my do IT, IoTY. So here you will have a console that that will display all the message published on this broker, and this window has been subscribed for all the subtopic that lies in this /amitaspati@gmail.com. This topic. That's why they have put just hash sign there. So as and when I publish any data there, it will just print a message, or whatever data I have published to this system get printed over there. Hello. Okay. If I publish data on some nested topic or subtopic, then it can. So in that manner, you can also use the third party or some external message broker for implementing MQTT protocol. You could use MQTT Mosquitto subscriber for subscribing message. Just post a message over there. As you publish, the subscriber will also got the message. So in that manner, this MQTT protocol works, and similarly, the sensor use this MQTT protocol to send their corresponding reading of physical parameter, environmental parameter, the sense to the gateway, and the gateway communicate this data to the cloud using some sort of HTTP mechanism. Okay, so MQTT protocol is generally used only for making a communication in between your you can say gateway and the sensor node only. For making a communication in between your gateway and your cloud part, generally HTTP protocol is used. Okay, at that time, MQTT could also be used, but generally it's not preferred. Okay, because you need to send a massive data or a frequent data over there. So generally, it is not preferred to this. But you could also use this MQTT protocol for implementing your communication. Okay. Second thing is second part. Okay, so now we will implement one more thing. This Nescom. Yes. So now we will have a lab session, and we will connect our Arduino board with the cloud, and we will send our the reading of our environmental data like current temperature and humidity using this DHT11 sensor to the cloud side using some sort of serial library. So I will show a demonstration of that. So typically this Arduino board that is connected with the sensor DHT11 sensor. So after collecting the temperature, current temperature and humidity, it just send the data to the cloud side, which is in particular in our case we are using ThingSpeak server for implementing cloud sort of things. So this Arduino board just posts the reading of this DHT11 to the cloud with the help of ESP8266. So ESP8266 is generally termed as NodeMCU. So NodeMCU provide a Wi-Fi connection with this Arduino board, because on the board of Arduino we do not have any kind of Bluetooth or implementing any Wi-Fi or wireless communication. So in order to establish a Wi-Fi communication, we need to connect either with Bluetooth, or with the some ESP8266 NodeMCU. Okay. So in this case, this Arduino board is flushing all the readings from this Arduino board to ThinkSpeak server with the help of ESP8266. So this is the pin diagram in which we have connected this ESP8266. The RxTX pin of this ESP8266 is directly connected with corresponding D2 and D3. It could also be connected with this RxTX pin directly, D0, D1. But we are particularly in our case, we are using software serial library for demonstrating you how the software serial library configure any digital pin to implement UART communication. Okay, that's why I have implemented this with D2 and D3 pins. Okay. So, at this serial communication, it sent the data to this ESP8266. The reset pin is connected with the help of register for just making the pull-up register to the higher part. This ESP8266 IC is work on 3.3 volt. That's why the VCC of this ESP8266 is directly connected with this 3 volt ground. And it's a sophisticated IC. If you provide a voltage slightly higher than this 3.3 volt, this IC would get damaged. Okay. It will it do not have any voltage regulator or voltage stabilizer on board, so that's why you need to provide a constant 3 or 3.3 volt over there. You cannot provide voltage higher than that. On the Arduino board, we have a voltage stabilizer. That's why we can provide a voltage higher than 5 volt. Okay. So this DST11 sensor is again connected to the analog one, A0 part, right? So after having a connection, physical connection with the Arduino board, just go with this ThinkSpeak website and just sign up on this ThinkSpeak server. After sign up, you on the dashboard you will find an option My Channel is there. Just click on that and select a new channel because you are going to publish these reading on a new channel or new topic. So just click on new channel. So here some parameter will be asked from this ThinkSpeak side. They will ask about the name of channel. Just provide the name that suits you. Some description or the field that you want to use for storing the data, whatever the Arduino board publish. So in particular, my case, I'm using two field, temperature and humidity, and on these field, the Arduino board flushing their data and bind the data to corresponding these two. So after having such configuration, just click on Save Channel. So after this step, you will see you can say a row with mentioning sensor data test, the name you have provided in the previous step, and there are a variety of options are there. So in that option, just click on this API key. So this API key is generally used to connect your Arduino board with this ThinkSpeak server, right? So on clicking on this API key, you will have two kind of keys. The first key is for writing data on this ThinkSpeak server, and the second API key is for reading data from this ThinkSpeak server. Okay, so you just need to store these two keys. So the rest, how the integration could be done, I will show you practically. So I'm just skip these slides. So after just having working, or you can say after simulating your Arduino board and sending some test reading on this ThinkSpeak server, at the visualization part at the server dashboard, you could able to see the readings whatever it have get from the Arduino board. So in that manner, you could monitor your sensor node live from a remote place. What the sensor is getting the data from the physical environment and how it is going to operate in particular environment. Even you can send some data from this ThinkSpeak cloud also. So using that option, you could able to control the actuators that are connectly direct with your Arduino board or sensor board. And using that manner, you could able to send this command from this ThingSpeak side and actuate the actuator there and control a particular device. For example, in some of the cases, like LG company provide the remote operation of your air condition. So from your mobile side, you just send some instruction or commands. These commands are just communicated to the actuator part of the air condition, and based on the instruction, whatever you send from your mobile phone, it control your AC, like control the temperature, send the wind direction. So in that manner, the ThingSpeak server work. So now, because this ESP8266 is not implemented in this Proteus, so that's why I need to implement all this kind of thing in a physical environment. So it's not work right now because I need to change the network and make some kind of network setting with that. So instead of doing all such kind of things, I in the previous night I have a recording of all the session. So just go with that. So it's a ESP826601 mode that we are going to just merge or integrate this ESP8266 with this Arduino board. So this slide I have already clear to you. This DST11 sensor is communicating with your Arduino board, and Arduino board just flushing the reading to ThingSpeak with the help of ESP826601 module. Right. So this is the circuit schematic of connection. DST11 is connected to A0 pin, and this ESP8266 is connected with the pins D2, D1 as the RxTX to the Arduino board. Okay, and this RST pin is also connected for implementing pull-up logic. And the supply pin is VCC is connected to 3-volt supply, as this is all already told you that it's a very sophisticated IC, so that's why we need to provide a constant or stable 3 voltage over there. So for providing voltage to this Arduino board, we have some sort of external power supply there, like 12 volt or 9 volt. This step I think I have already clear to you, so I'm just skipping that part. Okay. Yes. So in the code, we have to, if you could able to see the code, we have to write the API key, because we are going to write on the channel. So that's why the API key, whatever we get from this, the dashboard of this ThingSpeak server, just paste your API, write API key over this my API key variable. Okay. So instead of this, let me explain you the code directly. Thereafter, we will have a physical demonstration of that. So at the library side, I have included software serial.h because I'm going to configure D2 and D3 pin as a RxTX pair. The API write API key, I have the write API key of ThingSpeak server there. I'm using software serial and configure the 2 and 3rd pin of my board as a RxTX pair. Okay, and this DST11 is connected to the 4th pin. Well, we can say the 0 pin, A0 pin of my board. I have used 2 variable, humidity and temperature. The serial port has been started at 9600 baud rate, and RxTX I have started at the original RxTX pair. I have started again at the baud rate 9600. Okay, if you want to connect your virtual terminal or serial port communication, For that purpose, you need two serial communication. Okay, one for visualizing the, or you can get debugging the data. You need serial port, and second serial port is used for communicating with ESP8266. We have two character variable check connection, check time check. A message we are showing on our serial port for only for debugging purpose, connecting to Wi-Fi. First of time, we are going to check the connection while check connection is equal to 0. On the serial port, we are sending some API commands like on the ESP8266, we are going to connect with our Wi-Fi system. So this is the ATA command, AT plus PWJAP. It's going to connect with my access point. This is my SSID of my Wi-Fi connection, GeoFiber YRA PJ, and probably I need to write the password of my Wi-Fi. So in that manner, after issuing AT command, my ESP8266 would be able to connect with my Wi-Fi. So I just setting up some timeout duration. For example, in my case, I'm setting up 5 seconds. I'm just wait for 5 seconds and just check if my Wi-Fi is connected or not. If my Wi-Fi is connected, then on the serial port, I'm writing Wi-Fi connected. Otherwise, I'm just increase my time check counter and retry for 3 times. Okay, so this loop continue to work for 3 times. Okay. So once this ESP8266 got connected with my Wi-Fi, I'm just terminate from the loop while loop using this break statement, and just go into this loop function. So this loop function is going to read the data from this DST11 pin, and using this DST library, I'm going to read the current humidity and the current temperature. And on the serial port, I'm going to print the value of humidity and the temperature. Right now, I need to send this the value of this humidity and temperature to the ThingSpeak cloud. Okay, so again, I'm making some AT&T command using use of these AT&T command. I'm making the connection with TCP connection with ThingSpeak cloud. So again, I need to write AT plus CPI CIP start using TCP protocol. I'm going to make the connection to which server. I have write the IP of ThingSpeak cloud, then port number to which I'm going to connect, because traditionally I'm using HTTP protocol. That's why I have used AT port number here, because all the API has been implemented over HTTP protocol. So after writing this, if this system or ESP8266 failed to connect, it will show an error message. Otherwise, it will just skip this if condition and come on this statement. So these are the API statement that provided by ThingSpeak Cloud itself. Later in the video, we will see how from where we got this string. In the video part, we will have a demonstration of that. So from the ThingSpeak dashboard, we have got this URL, or you can say connection string, get/update equal to API key. We need to write API key, and the ampersand the field 1, particularly in the case of our field 1 is for temperature, and field 2 is we have mentioned as for humidity. So at the field 1, we are sending our temperature data. At the field 2, we are sending humidity. Okay. Then using AT plus CPI send command, we are sending this get str as a data. Okay. So by issuing serial.println cmd, it just send this command to ESP8266 board. On this ESP8266, send this, fire this URL to the ThingSpeak cloud, and the data is get flushed onto ThingSpeak server. Okay. So after just communication has been completed, it just close the HTTP connection and just wait for 15 seconds for next reading. So after just 15 successive seconds, it continue to again sends the current value of humidity and temperature, again send the data to the phone. Okay. So just we are continuing our video. This was the explanation of this data. Yes, this is the API, the URL of API that I have mentioned that in my code. Yes, get/update. So this API is mentioned there. Update ? API key equal to this. So from there we have our get URL. Okay, for publishing our data to one particular channel, right? So now let me start the physical demonstration of that. Yes. So this is the DST11 sensor that is connected with the Arduino board, right? And this is your ESP826601 module that is connected with second and third pin for implementing RxDX12. So typically this is ESP826601 module that is connected to second and third pin of your RxDX of your Arduino board. Okay. Now, to write your program on Arduino board, you first need to detach this ESP8266 from pin second and third, because we are accessing the serial port to write your Arduino program into Arduino board. Okay, so that's why at the first step, when we are going to flush your program to Arduino board, you need to disconnect the second and third pin of ESP8266. Okay. So once you write your program, you can connect the third and second pin to correspond ESP8266. Okay, the program has been uploaded. Okay, so now I need to again connect second and third pin of ESP8266 to Arduino board. We could see it is going to connect with Wi-Fi. After some hit and try, yes, it could able to connect with my access point. Message is showing Wi-Fi screen, right? So after some time, it's going to sense the data and issuing the command, AT&T command to send the data of humidity and temperature. That is 36 in my case, field 1, 36 value, and the second the temperature is 36 and humidity is 64. Okay, so this is showing the value 36 on the cloud and 64 there. Second reading is 32 and 66. It's getting some time to update the data. Just wait for a while. After a couple of seconds, it will again refresh the dashboard and again showing you the data 32 and 66.
Because prayer is putting oneself in the hands of God to feel his blessings, to devote oneself.
So yes, it's now showing 32 and corresponding its humidity value 66. So in that manner, you can make your own sensor and just flush your sensor data to your Inspect cloud or whatever cloud you're going to implement at your own. Okay. So in our session, from the day first to since the last day, that is today, we have some implemented some good practical example from the scratch, right from fabrication of a sensor to the sending of data from the sensor to the cloud side. So after this step, only a single step is remaining, like just having the analysis part of the data, whatever we collect at the cloud side. It may be some sort of a prediction or some sort of analytical graph like that. So at that moment, we need to use some kind of machine learning algorithm for analyzing our data. So we are not doing that part because it's a separate domain. Quite related with the IoT part, but it's a separate domain. So I'm not going to cover that. So at this step, I'm going to stop my session. So is there any query? Is there any query regarding my all the lab session, hands-on session we have taken?
No, sir, this is very useful. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Amit.
Thank you, sir. So now I'm going to invite Professor Ravi to connect and take this session. Just be connected. I'm going to connect with him.